What's up, guys? Welcome to your 191st Android tutorial for the new Boston. What we're going to do now is refer to this notification manager. Pretty much that's all we're going to do for this tutorial. Let's learn about some of the methods it has and how we actually send this notification again to the notification service. It's going to be pretty simple for the most part, but there's some key factors that you guys have to remember when working with the notification manager. So what we're going to do is, again, within our on-click method, we're just going to say notification manager, then we're going to say notify, and basically what we need to do is we need to pass in a certain key or a unique ID and also which notification we want to set up. So we're just going to say unique ID, and we'll set that up in a second. And then we also have to pass in which notification. Again, we have this notification called in, so that's what we're going to pass in. And the reason we need a unique ID is, well, actually I'll show you, but we're going to copy this and we're going to go above our class and we're going to set this equal to static final, and then paste equals, and then some kind of unique number. Oh, and also we have to say it's an int. So there we go. We set up that unique number, and basically now if we run our application, I'll show you guys the problem that we're having and why we need that unique ID. So if we go down to our status bar class, hit button, as you can see we get this message, and you know, that's cool. But we're going to go down and we're going to hit our message. It's still going to open up our intent and open up that pending intent, but as you can see, our notification never went away. It's still there. And you're like, what's going on? Why didn't that clear? Well, we can hit the clear button there and it'll clear it, but we want it to clear right when we, open up our pending intent. So how we're going to do that is refer to the unique ID within our onCreate method. And again, if you guys want to check out the sample code, I believe with the Google sample code, it starts up a service and it cancels it that way. But this is just kind of, a quick tutorial on notifications, so I didn't want to go into building a whole service that handles our notification and all that stuff. But what we're going to do is refer to this unique ID within our onCreate method, because again, once we start up our pending intent, it's going to call this onCreate method, and that's where we're going to clear the notification. It's just a quick fix, probably not the best way to do it, but what we're going to do is we're going to refer to our notification manager, and we're just going to say dot cancel, and as you can see, it takes an int or an ID, and that's what we're going to refer to, our unique ID. Because we don't want it to cancel other people's notifications and stuff like that, so we need to have a unique ID of some sort, and here's just our unique ID. It's just a random number, but that's kind of why, again, that's kind of why we need that unique ID, so we can actually cancel the notification. And then quickly also, just because, and again, I'm not going to run it, it's still going to be the old running, but just to show you guys another problem we're having is if we hit the button, we get this notification, we hit our notification, it opens up another opens up another activity, the same activity, and then once we hit the back button, we have all of these activities open. So just again, a quick fix for that, we're just going to say within our onClick method, after we call the notify method, we're just going to say finish, and after we hit our button, it'll send our notification, finish the activity, and then once they hit the notification, it's going to start up our class, and it's going to start up our notification manager, and it's going to cancel that unique ID, that notification. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial. Hopefully you guys understood what we were hopefully you guys understand the purpose of the unique ID and how to notify, actually create our notification on the status bar, and also how to cancel that notification on the status bar. So that's pretty much the purpose of this tutorial. And again, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next tutorial. Hope you have a good one, and see you later. What's up, guys? Welcome to your 191st Android tutorial for the new Boston. What we're going to do in this tutorial is we're going to use a seek bar to control the volume. Right now it's not programmed, so you can still hear the volume. But it's going to be 2 tutorials, and then we're going to basically wrap up our application, add some ads, put it on the marketplace, all that good stuff. So we're going to kind of go quickly, but not too quickly. All we're going to do is we're going to create an XML layout that has a seek bar, and that's under the form widgets, and it's right here, seek bar. Throw that in, and add a ID to it. I called it seek bar volume, and then we're going to go create a class called seek bar volume extends activity. We're going to set up a seek bar instance and a media player instance. Nothing too new here. Well, I guess the seek bar is, but we just have to add a reference to the XML for our seek bar. We have to set our content view to that XML layout, and within the onCreate method, that's where we're going to start our media player. Again, I just referred to that background music RAR folder, that or RAR sound that we included in our project, and then I started it. I also added an onPause method that releases the sound. So nothing too new there. I hope you guys can set that up. And how we're going to handle our volume is through something called an audio manager. So we're going to set that up above our class, and we're just going to say audio manager AM, something like that. And what we're going to do is, after we add our imports, we're going to set up our audio manager. We're going to set this equal to audio manager, just the basic setup, and again we're going to say get system context or system service, and we're going to refer to context dot audio service. So now we can mess around with the audio of our application and our activity and all that good stuff. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set up basically the current volume that the person has on their device, and also the maximum volume. So we're going to say, and these are going to be int values, so we're going to say int max v, and we're going to set this equal to our audio manager dot get stream max volume, and we're just going to refer to the audio manager class. And we're going to say dot, and we're just going to say stream music. So all that's doing is creating an int value for basically the maximum volume that the phone can project. So that's all that's doing. Looks a little bit complicated, but it's really not too bad. So then we're going to set up the current volume, so we're just going to say current v, and we're going to set this equal to, again, our audio manager dot get system volume or stream volume instead of max volume, and we're going to again set this up to our audio manager class dot stream music as well, and that's going to get the current volume and pass it in as an int. And also in this tutorial we're going to set up basically our listener for a seek bar. So we're going to say seek bar, which is the variable name that we created. We're going to say dot set on seek bar changed listener or change listener, and we're going to say this, and then we're going to allow our class to implement the on seek bar change listener. So there we go, and then we just have to add our unimplemented method. And as you can see, we have 3 of them: a progress changed, a progress start tracking touch, and a stop tracking touch, which we'll get into in the next tutorial. Again, I just want to make sure everything's set up, and I'll show you guys how we can use our seek bar to handle basically our volume. So I'll catch you guys in the next tutorial. Hope you have a good one, and see you then. What's up, guys? Welcome to your 193rd Android tutorial for the new Boston. What we're going to do in this tutorial is basically set up our seek bar and adjust our volume. So it's going to be pretty much completing this activity. And just to make reference of why we set up the max value and the current value, is what we're going to do is we're going to access our seek bar, and we're going to say, hey, the maximum value is going to be the same as the maximum value of our audio manager, or the maximum value our phone will allow. And then why we set the current value is right when our activity starts, we're going to set this bar equal to wherever the current volume is on the person's phone. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use that method called onProgressChange, and when we change the progress of our bar, it's actually going to change the volume of the person's device through, again, the audio manager. So that's pretty much what we're going to do in this tutorial. So let's jump right into it. And again, what we need to do is we need to set the maximum value of our seek bar. If you guys aren't using the volume, you can set this to whatever, like 1,000, and then as your progress changes, you can get that value, that int value. Like if you're halfway through, that'd be like 500 or something. But since we're working with volume, we want to have it equal to the maximum volume that we can get through our audio manager. So what we're going to say is we're going to say SB for seek bar, and then we're going to say set max, and this is the maximum volume again. This is the highest our seek bar is going to allow us to go, and what we want to set this maximum volume to equal is basically the maximum volume, what we want this max value to equal is the max value or the max volume that we can run. So again, we can't go any higher than the maximum volume here, and again, that's why we set up that int. And now what we need to do is we need to set where we want the progress bar to start, and we're going to set that equal to, again, wherever the current position is or the current volume on the person's phone is. So we're going to say sb.setProgress, and again, it takes an int value, and that's why we set up our current volume. So there we go. And all we have left to do pretty much is basically use this onProgressChange method, and as you can see, we get some values, and I'm going to change this reference here at least to progress because again, that's going to return basically where our progress bar is at, and that's how we're going to set our volume. So again, just for reference, let's say we set our max volume to 1,000 and we set our current volume to, you know, like 100 or something. When we move our progress bar, let's say we start at 100, we move it halfway, so that'd be 500. It'd pass in this int, it'd pass in 500 to this onProgressChange, so we can basically work with the progress of the bar. And that's pretty much what we're going to do with our audio manager. We're going to refer to our audio manager, and then we're just going to say set stream volume, and we're going to set that equal to the type that we want it to affect. So we're going to say audio manager dot stream music. And again, that's just the type of, you know, volume that we're working with, because, you know, we have like the media volume and also like the ringer volume, all those kind of things that we could potentially do. So we want to say it's the, you know, the music that we're working with. And then what we want to change it by, or what we want to set it to, is again our progress of our progress bar. So we're just going to say progress, that's being passed in. And our flags we're going to set to 0. And I believe that should be it. Again, just to talk through everything, and then we'll run our application, make sure it works. Is again, we set up a progress bar. We set the max value that our progress bar can go to basically the max value of our maximum volume. Again, we got the maximum volume as an int because we referred to the audio manager class to get the maximum value that's allowed. And then we also did that with the current volume, and we're going to set our progress bar wherever the current volume is. And then when we change the progress bar, we have this listener, which is just going to, you know, set the stream volume again through the audio manager, and you know, we're going to change this type of stream, which is music, and according to the progress on our seek bar. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's run our application. Turn it up here. We're going to go down to our seek bar volume. As you can see, the volume starts about right here. It's not at the maximum volume. And I'll just mess around with this. Hopefully you guys can hear. And see, we can just, you know, mess with the music. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that tutorial. I know it's kind of simple, but I wanted to show the seek bar and also how we can mess around with the system volume, because, you know, that could be useful to someone anyway. So thanks again for watching, guys, and we're pretty much gonna do the finishing touches of our application throughout the remainder of this series. Again, add ads and put it on the marketplace and update it on the marketplace. So thanks again for watching, guys, and catch you in the next tutorial. What's up, guys? Welcome to your 194th Android tutorial for the new Boston. And pretty much our application's done. All we need to do is maybe monetize it, you know, add some ads on there and hopefully get some clicks and, you know, make pennies and all that great stuff. You know, pennies can go a long ways, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to set up ads within our application, but before we do that, we need to download the jar to incorporate AdMob within our application. Also, these last few tutorials, we're going to show you how to, sign your application, which we kind of did with the Google Maps, as well as, put it on the marketplace, and probably show you guys how to update your application, just in case you need to do that as well. So what we need to do first is, get the jar so we can use some ads, ad type methods, and refreshing our ads and all that good stuff, and make sure the connection goes through, and you get paid your pennies or dollars or whatever. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to a site called AdMob.com, and we're going to use AdMob to put ads within our application. So you guys will have to register, register for this. It's free, so nothing to worry about there. But I'm not going to go through the registration process. It's pretty much like signing up for anything else. And then once you do that, you want to go to this Marketplace tab here. And I'm probably going to blur out my information because I'm sure it's against the rules if it's anything like AdSense and all that. But you might be like, oh, how much is he making? It's not much, guys, so trust me on that. And also, I don't have any good applications on this account, so it doesn't really matter. But what we're going to do is we're going to go down to this button here. We're just going to shoot down to this tab here. So just find a tab like this that says Add Site or App, and we're going to click on that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to an Android app, because that's what we've been developing, and we need to give it some information. So our app name, we're going to say the New Boston Basics, something like that. And what we need to do now is we have to make that correlation between our actual package name and AdMob. So we do that with this package URL, and all we're going to say is market : / details $ID equals, and then greater than sign com.thenewboston.travis, and then lesson sign. So that's my package name. Again, if you guys forget, you just go right here into your project, and here's your package name. So just make sure that that is the exact same. And then we're going to give it a category like productivity, and we're going to give an app description. Now, the app description actually gets viewed by the people that work at AdMob, so you kind of want to give it some detailed information so they can help you or help put the right ads on your application, and hopefully you make more money that way. So I'm just going to say so I just said something like, this is a basic Android programming example used for teaching Android development, and that's probably good enough. If you want to add more descriptions or more detail to your description, feel free. It probably will help you out, but just do that. Then we're just going to hit continue, and what we need to do is we need to download the SDK or the jar that we're going to add to our project. So we're just going to click either download here, and it's going to download to wherever you guys choose, or what we can do is go over into Clips, go up to the Window tab, and then Android SDK AVD Manager. We can go to, I'm going to go to installed packages because I already have this installed, but this is what you're going to look for. It is the Google AdMob Ads SDK package in revision 2. Where that's going to be located is under the available packages, if you guys don't have it downloaded already, third-party add-ons, and then the Google add-ons, and it should be somewhere like right here. Actually, there's a revision 3, so I'll just actually download that and hit accept all or whatever, install. And that's pretty much it for this tutorial. We got our package name registered with AdMob, and we're also downloading the SDK so we can refer to it in our actual project. And I'll catch you guys in the next tutorial where we'll start getting this set up and all that great stuff. So I'll catch you then. Have a good one. What's up, guys? Welcome to your 195th Android tutorial for the New Boston. What we're going to do in this tutorial is just add that jar, add those resources that we downloaded in the last tutorial. So again, we can add ads to our application, and just get things going, add in the permissions that we're going to need to produce the ads, and we actually obviously we're going to have access to the internet and also the network state, so we can keep track of the clicks and all that good stuff. But if you guys don't like watching videos, this is probably the worst time to tell you this, since it's basically at the end of the series. But you know, if you would rather like reading, you can click this link here, and this is basically what we're going to go through is all this stuff. But if you just like watching videos like myself instead of, you know, reading and you know, just follow along. But if you ever get lost, just double check with, you know, this site here. But again, we downloaded, at least I downloaded the SDK through Eclipse. So all we have to do is access that and add that jar to our project. So we're going to right click on the new Boston package, that, or whatever package you guys are adding AdMob to, and we're going to go down to properties. Once we open the properties, we get something like this. We're going to go to Java build path, and we're going to go into our project, or our libraries, and we're going to say add external jar, because again, we downloaded the SDK which has a jar that we need. So we're just going to say add external jar, and we're going to refer back to wherever we downloaded the SDK, or if you guys downloaded AdMob off their website, you know, find that download and open that there. But again, I downloaded the SDK within my hard drive, so I'm just going to open that up and find the Android SDK for Mac, or wherever you guys again downloaded the SDK. We're going to go to extras, and then we're going to go to the Google tab, or the Google folder, and we have AdMob's Ads SDK right here. We're going to open that up, and here's our jar that we want to look for. So we're just going to add this jar to our application again, so we can use the methods and all the great stuff it has to offer. So we're just going to click that and hit open, and now as you can see, it added it to our project. We're just going to hit OK, and over here we have this new reference libraries that we, you know, have our AdMob SDK located within, and we have all these classes that we can use now, all this new great stuff. So there we go. We've added our jar to our application. Now all we need to do is add the permissions. So we're going to go into the manifest, and we already have the internet, but just to emphasize, you guys need the internet one. So if you don't have an internet application and you haven't been following this project exactly, make sure you add the permission for the internet. And I'm just going to go down to the permissions tab as well. As you can see, the internet's there as also. But what we're going to do is we're going to say add, and we're going to say uses permission, and then we're going to go down and we're going to find access network state. That's another permission we're going to need for AdMob. So we're just going to click that and save our project, and then just maybe double check, go back to the XML, make sure that new permission is in there as well. So we need the access network state and the internet. So those are the two permissions we need for AdMob, and we've set up our jar. In the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to reference those methods and how to set up and add within your application. So I'll catch you guys in, and have a good one. What's up, guys? Welcome to your 196th Android tutorial for the new Boston. I believe it's 196. Anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to set up basically the reference to the jar we just added, because again, we did add a jar to our project, but we still need to make that reference within the manifest. So what we're going to do is we're going to go within our application bracket of the manifest, and we need to make that reference again to the jar that we added. So how we do that is just pretty simple. We're going to create an activity, so nothing new there. Give us some space to work with, and we need to refer for the activity name to be basically an add activity. So we're going to say Android name equals, and then this has to be verbatim, this has to be the exact same. So we're going to say com.google.ads.add activity. So make sure your spelling's correct and all that good stuff, otherwise nothing's gonna you know, our ads aren't gonna be working. So we need to have this as a reference name, or Android name. You also want to set up the Android config to be Android config changes, and we're just going to set this equal to be keyboard, and then we need to put one of those straight, oops, spelled keyboard wrong, could be bad, and we want to put one of those straight lines. Not exactly sure what this, you know, this thing's called. It's not an L, but it's like, you know, shift and then the button right above your return or enter key, just one of those straight up and down lines. And then we're just going to say keyboard, hidden, and again we're going to put one of those straight lines, and we're just going to say orientation. And now we have basically the reference set up to our jar that we just added. So I'm just going to say Control Save, make sure I don't get any errors. Again, just for our Android name, we need to have it com.google.ads.addActivity. And for config changes, again, keyboard hidden, and orientation. So there we go. We basically just set up the reference within our manifest. And now let's actually get into setting up an ad within XML. So we're just going to go into our layouts here and pick one of our layouts. Let's go with our main XML. This is our first little activity that we created, and we're just going to add an ad within this linear layout. So to do that, what we need to do is again make a reference or a connection within our first bracket. So like if you guys have a linear layout or a relative layout, we basically need to make a connection so we can use some methods. That's all this is doing. I think I might have explained that, but that's just allowing us to use some of these Android, colon layout or orientation and all that good stuff. So that's why we need to have a reference like this. But we're also going to have another reference for our ads. So what we're going to do is we're going to say XML ns ads equals, and then we have to put in http://schemas.android.com /apk/lib/com.google.ads. So I know it's kind of long, but you guys want to make sure again your spelling's correct on this, everything's good. And again, this will just allow us to add like ads within XML and all that good stuff. So again, http // or just pause the video and make sure you guys have this verbatim. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to add an ad below our second button. Again, this is our layout here. We're just going to put an ad like somewhere here. So let's go down into our code, go below our second button, and we're just going to add an ad just like we add everything else, just a greater than sign, and then we're just going to say com.google.ads.addView, like that. And we can set up an ID, so we're just going to say Android ID equals @ ID / add. If you guys want to set up an ID, pretty much the same way as you guys are familiar with. We're also going to set up a layout width and layout height, so you can just set that equal to be wrap content, and maybe Android height, layout height to be wrap content as well. Get nothing new, pretty easy, huh? And what's really important is the ad references, because again, this is coming from that first reference or that first XMLNS that we've already had, so we can use these Android references. But now we're going to use the ad references. So we're going to say ads and then add unit ID. So make sure that's spelled correctly. And we're going to get to this in the next tutorial, so I'm just going to say next tutorial. So we're going to have to change that to make the connection, with our specific ID, so we can, get paid and they can keep track of the user, all that good stuff. And what we're going to do is we're going to say this ad is going to load when the onCreate method gets called of this activity, whichever activity has this layout. So we're going to say load ad on create. We're going to set this equal to be true, and we just close off our statement with / lesson sign. So that's how we kind of add an ad within our application, and you can kind of see the layout here of what it looks like. And oh yeah, we forgot the ad size, but we'll probably get into that in the next tutorial. So make sure you watch the next tutorial, because it's going to be pretty important, because obviously we're missing something already. But I'll catch you guys then, and hope you have a good one. What's up, guys? Welcome to your 197th Android tutorial for the new Boston. Again, we're going to be working with AdMob, and obviously we're getting some major problems here. So we're going to clean those up in this tutorial, and then we're pretty much going to be done. I might show you guys how to put an ad through Java alone, not using XML layout like we are here, but then we're pretty much done with AdMob. So I'll probably do a quick overview of everything that we've done at the end of this tutorial, just to make sure you guys are running properly and you can hit those key points there. So as we can see, our ad view is missing the required XML attribute called ad size. So we're going to switch back over to the XML layout and set up our ad size. What we're going to set this equal to be is ads : ad size, because again that's what we were missing, equals, and then within quotations, banner, all uppercase. And then we pretty much have our ad size laid out, and as you can see, this is what's being displayed. As you can see, this is what it displays to show, how big our ad is and all that great stuff. So that's how it's going to appear. Again, if we wanted to do like a relative layout, we can move it around and all that stuff. That's about the size that's going to take up for our application. Now the only other thing we need to do is add a reference to our actual AdMob account through the ad unit ID. So we're going to change this text here, and it's just going to be something like I don't know, something like that. We're just going to open up again in our browser admob.com, go to the marketplace, and then just click on the sites and apps. And I'm just going to shoot down again below here and skip over my earnings and all that stuff. And then we have our project that we set up a few tutorials ago here called the New Boston Basics, or whatever you guys labeled your project as. And we're just going to go to Manage Settings, and right here is where our publisher ID is. I'm going to block it out because again it's probably against the terms and everything. So just copy and paste that code. So we're just going to copy it there, and we're going to paste it here. I'm just going to make one up like something like that. And make sure when you guys copy, if there's like a space here or a space at the beginning, make sure you delete those spaces, otherwise your ad is not going to work. So just make sure you copy and paste it, and I'm just going to quickly talk through everything, and then I'm going to paste my real code and try and run it on the emulator and talk about that as well. So again, all we have to do is we have to add our jar into our project. It should be under this resource libraries in Google AdMob SDK. Then we go into our manifest. We want to make sure we have the internet permission. We also want to make sure we have the access network state permission. Then we also have to define an activity within our application that has the Android name, and then this name here, and the configuration set up as well. And then we just go into our XML layout or wherever we want to set up our ad, and we got to have all of these variables: a width, an ID to reference in Java if we choose, and a height, which is both wrap content, and then we have a unit ID and a load on create. So it's going to load our ad within the create method of whatever application we use this layout as our set content view. And we're also going to set the ad size to banner. So now I'm just going to paste my real code and run it on the emulator. So we're going to go to our first activity here called starting point. We're going to open that up, and hopefully we have an ad set up. And the first time you run it, it's going to take a couple minutes before your ad appears. So just make sure you note my time, and hopefully we'll see when that appears. And again, I'm just going to clip the video. Alright guys, well AdMob says it takes about 2 minutes for the first time you run it, but it looks like it's obviously taking longer than that. So I'll probably just catch you guys in the next tutorial, and if this still isn't working by like tomorrow, I don't know if it's because it's like 2 a.m. or something, it's going to take longer. I don't know what's going on, but if I realize I messed up on anything, I'll let you guys know and edit this video. I guess there should be a little portion at the end, but I believe it'll load up. It just still has to register with AdMob. But I'll catch you guys in the next tutorial. Have a good one. What's up guys, welcome to your 198th Android tutorial. And yeah, I just waited a while. It's been like an hour or so, and if we go to our AdMob account, down here where we see all of our activities that we applied for, you can see it turned green. It's still not showing ads yet. Might take, probably, I don't know, few more hours before it actually displays the ads that we request, but it is accepting a request. So You know, also if you guys apply with AdSense through this, it'll help your fill rate, so you'll display ads more often. But I believe it still should show up. Eventually, they just kind of need to figure out how, you know, the data that we're sending them and all that stuff. I believe that's my guess, and it'll appear eventually. And then what we're going to do is, so again, if you guys don't have this green highlighted button within, you know, a few hours, that's probably some sort of a problem. But you know, give it a while. It says 2 minutes. Just give it a few minutes. And another thing we can do is we can open up our starting point class, and again we gave that add a reference as well, and we're just going to set up a reference and, you know, refresh it or send a refresh so we get a fresh new ad within our application on our onCreate method. Even though we set it up in XML to be true within our onCreate, I just wanted to show you guys how to like refresh an ad if you want. So again, we're just going to set up an add view type instance, and we're going to call this add. And again, we just have to set up a reference bridge, so we're just going to say add view, find view by ID, r.id.add, and then all we're going to do is say add.load add, and we're going to send a request to load a new ad. And since we don't have an add request, we're just going to create a new one. We're just going to say new add request. That's going to send a new request for us. So if you have like a button that gets pressed often and you guys want to update your ad or something, you could set that up within a button or something like that. And also just a quick note, again, this starting point activity, we had two layouts, one for the horizontal layout, or I'm sorry, the landscape layout, and one for the portrait. So again, you guys want to set up your ad within here, otherwise when it tries to look for this ad view within the Java, if we're in the layout or the landscape mode, it's not going to be able to find that, and it's going to crash your application. So again, just make sure you guys open that up and add this reference here, and then set up your ad within there. You have the same ID as well, so your ad can find it, or your Java class can find that ad. And now I'm just going to show you guys how to add an ad through strictly Java alone. So I'm going to do that within our data class. Forgot exactly what this was. Anyway, so we have our data class, and we have this layout as get, so I'm just going to open that up as well. And it looks something like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our linear layout, or actually it's a relative layout that we use for this, and we're going to set that relative layout to have an ID as well. So we're just going to say Android ID equals you know, at plus ID / relative or rel layout. I don't think we have an ID like that. And there we go. We just basically added a reference to our layout that controls our entire, you know, XML file. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the Java, and we're just going to set that linear layout up here, or relative layout I should say. We're just going to call this RL and add our imports. And actually, I'm just going to set it up within the onCreate method as well. So I'm just going to say RL equals relative layout, find view by ID, r.id.rel layout. And the reason I did that is because we're going to add we're going to add to this relative layout, and all we're going to do is we're just going to say set up another add view, and we're going to call this add as well. And all we're going to do is we're going to use the method to create the add view for us. And I'm just going to say new add view, and then within the parameters we refer to the context of the class, so we're just going to say data.this. And then for our second parameter, we're going to set up the ad size, so we're going to say ad size dot banner. You guys have a few different choices you guys can mess around with, see the different sizes that you can work with. We're just going to say banner, and then we have to enter our ad ID, which I'm just making up here, and that creates again the ad for us. And now what we can do is you guys probably have to put that in quotations as well. So now what we can do is we can just add to our relative layout, which we called RL, and just say add view, And then what view are we going to add? Well, we're going to add this this ad view here, so we're just going to call it add because that's what we called our ad view. And then all we're going to do is we're going to say our ad, and then again just load dot load ad and new ad request as well, just like I showed you guys a second ago. Again, we have to add all of our imports, but that's how we can add to a relative layout or any other kind of layout, just using this add view method on the layout itself, and it's just going to add that view to our layout. What's up, guys? Welcome to your 199th Android tutorial for the new Boston, and we're getting towards the end there. So what we're going to do now is put our application on the marketplace, so you can share all of your hard work with the world. So what we're going to do is, again, just pretty much what we did with our maps activity. First, we need to sign our project and all that great stuff. So we're just going to right click on our project, go to Android Tools, and go to Export Signed Application, and we're just going to click that, hit Next, and then we can either use our existing key store that we use for the maps activity as well, the same certificate, if you choose, but we're just going to create a new one, and again we're just going to browse the location where we keep our key stores or whatever. And again, mine is just within Documents and then Android Apps here, and that's where I'm going to save it as. I'm just going to call this TNB for the new Boston, and I'm just going to say key store. Hit enter, and then we have to say a password. So just make up a password that you guys will remember. Again, this is kind of review, so I'm just going kind of quickly through this. And again, we just need to create an alias, so I'm just going to say the new Boston alias, and make sure I spell it right there. And then again, just a password that you guys will remember. Again, your key store password and your alias password can be the same. That doesn't matter. We're going to say 1,000 years validity and also first name, and just hit next. Then we gotta locate where we want to save the APK, and I'm just going to save it in the same folder as well. And there we go. We're just going to hit finish. So far nothing new. Now what we're going to have to do is we're going to go into the Android marketplace, which is just market.android.com/publish, and become a publisher for the Android. It only costs 25 bucks, whereas like Apple, I think it's like $100 a year. Android is just a one-time fee of 25 bucks, so that's pretty awesome as of right now. I don't know if they're going to change in the future, so you guys might just want to sign up now. I don't know if you have 25 bucks, but it's pretty cheap. And then once you get signed in, you'll have a screen like this once you're logged in and you're a developer and everything, and you're just going to go to upload application. Pretty simple. We got to choose the APK, so we're going to locate where we just saved that APK. Again, the Documents, Android Apps, and the new Boston APK. Just going to hit that and open, and then hit upload. Takes a little bit, not too long here. So it's about 2 megabytes. And then it's uploaded our APK, shows all of our permissions that we're using. We're just going to save that. And then what we need to do is we need to add at least 2 screenshots, and they have to be by these dimensions. So if you guys want to use your computer to take, like, run your application on your emulator or something, take a screenshot, and then use like a Paint or GIMP or something to edit it to these exact portions, which you will need to have these specific dimensions to upload. So then we're just going to locate those files. Pretty simple. I saved a few on my desktop somewhere. I saved so much stuff on my desktop, it's ridiculous. But no, that's not that one. So I'm just going to pick one screenshot, open it, and then we just hit upload. And again, we need at least 2, so I'm just going to add another one by just down here we choose another file. So I'm going to pick this maps one, even though the maps isn't in this in this project, so I don't know if that's going to confuse people or not, but whatever. So now we have 2 pictures, and then we need to add a high resolution picture again by a specific dimension of 512 by 512 pixels, either PNG or JPEG, with a maximum of, you know, that many kilobytes. So again, we're just going to pick a picture after you guys edit one. So I've already created one here, and then again we just hit upload. Pretty simple stuff. I mean, it's a pretty easy walkthrough. We select the title. We're just going to say the New Boston Basics, and we're just going to say this app, you know, add a description. So just, you know, create a brief description, something that will be displayed when the user is looking at the app, see if they want to download it. So, you know, sell them, get them interested there. And then we can also, you know, make some recent changes if we want to update to our description later and all that good stuff, as well as promo text. We're also going to select the application type, so we're going to say this is an application because it's not really too much of a game, I guess. And category, so we're just going to say like education. Copyright, you can either turn that on or off. Basically, we're just going to leave it off because we don't really care for the most part for this application anyways. And then also the content rating, everyone should be able to use this. I don't think we did anything too offensive, but so we're just going to say everyone, and then all countries, pricing's free. You can also set up a merchant account, so you can, you know, get paid for your applications as well. And so there we go. We have that set up. We might want to, you know, give some additional information that they can contact us with. I'm just going to leave the website, and again we just have to agree to the guidelines and, you know, all that good stuff. So we're just going to hit accept those, and then we're going to go over to this APK files up here and say active, so that attaches our APK, and there we go. We're just going to hit publish, and we are in the market, guys. So again, hope you liked this tutorial. As you can see, here's our application. Should be able to be downloaded as of now, and I'll catch you guys in the next tutorial where we're going to learn about updates. So it's going to be pretty important because, again, you guys, when you do an update, you need to remember your password for your certificate or your key store and your alias and all that stuff. So make sure you check out that last tutorial before you forget. So I'll see you guys then, and have a good one. What's going on, gangsters? Welcome to your 200th Android tutorial, the final tutorial in the series. And what we're going to do is we're going to update our APK file on our developer page here. And if we try to go to the APKs here, what is wrong with my mouse? It keeps right clicking for no reason. Alright, this is getting annoying. Stop it. My phone was sitting on the control button there, so that's what was happening. Alright, so if we try and upload, let's say, you know, the New Boston again, so we're just going to go to choose APK, go into the New Boston, try and open that, and upload. It's going to say, you know, we already have this APK uploaded, and it's still version 1, so you aren't really updating anything. So let's just close that and go into our code, and basically let's say you want to add a new, you know, something to our list, another activity or something within our project, and we need to update it to the marketplace. You solve some kind of bug or something that people are having trouble with. So how we change or get an upgraded APK is we're just going to go into the Android manifest. I don't know if you guys saw that or if I went too quickly, but basically there was the code or version code was set to 1. So anytime we do an upgrade, we're just going to set this version to like 2 or something like that, and then we're just going to save it. And again, we have to export it. So we're going to go to Android Tools, Export Signed Application, and we're just going to hit Next. And we have to use the same key store and key alias. So we're just going to say use existing key store, and we're going to say our password that we set up the last time. That's why it's important to remember these passwords. Anytime you update, you need to have the same password the same certificate. And the reason we have to sign it to the same certificate is that way, you know, people can't just like upgrade our application if they can hack in. They need to have the same signature or certificate. So we're just going to hit next, and then we also have to have our alias name, which there's only one alias under our key store, and that's supposed to be TNB, but oh well. So that was our alias name. Again, we have to have the same password, or not the same password, but whatever your password was for your alias. Hit next, and then it says destination already exists, so we're just going to say the New Boston 2 maybe. Hit save, finish, and then we can go into our marketplace and say upload APK and choose it. Then we just pick the New Boston 2, which is our upgraded APK, hit open and upload. And again, now we can actually, you know, replace our APK with this new upgraded APK. So we're just going to hit save, and then we have this choice. Again, we want to switch this new code, the version code 2, to active, and it says obviously this is going to replace the currently active one. Is that okay? Hit yeah, that's cool. And then we just have to save it, and there we go. We have our upgraded APK on the marketplace, and when people download it, the new and improved version of our application is going to be what they're downloading. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial. I know it's kind of simple, but again, just to keep in mind, you need to save your passwords, and you also need to replace your version code. So you know, just keep that in mind as well. And that's pretty much it, guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the tutorials. You learned something. Sorry again if I went too fast or too slow or it's too boring or you know, all that stuff. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you guys have any more questions, feel free to hit me up on mybringback.com or, you know, my YouTube channel or something like that. So I'll catch you guys later, hopefully, and thanks again for watching, and have a good one.